Okay, so we're going to kind of pick up where we left off with the video from yesterday. And so you hopefully completed the practice. Remember, let me check those and take a look. We have our next learning target. This is really our last learning target for inequalities. And, we kind of not gone in order. This is back to target number 2. And so this target kind of goes back with what we have done with equations because we're going to solve one-step algebraic equations. Now, that means we're going to take something like this. Okay, we've done this before. And we know that the 5 and the x smashed together means multiply. So we would do the opposite and divide by 5. Okay, we talked a lot about a teeter-totter when we were doing this to keep it equal. And then we can see that x is going to equal 2 because 10 divided by 5 is 2. We're going to do that same idea, but instead of the equal sign, we're going to have an inequality sign. Okay, so probably we'll do some practice of the solving one step before we throw in the inequality. So we can see that I've worked on a review here. What is the strategy to solve this? Now, when you see the 3.0 over here, this is for solving one-step equations. So we look at plus 24, and we're thinking inverse or opposite operation. Remember, the opposite of add is subtract. The opposite of subtract is add. The opposite of multiply is divide. And the opposite of divide is multiply. So I would subtract 24 from each side. I like to draw a straight line down where the equal sign is. And I know if I have 24 and then I take 24 away, that gives me 0. So I have t plus 0. Well, that's just going to give me t. And when I take 85 minus 24, I'm going to have the answer to whatever t should equal, and that is 61. Okay, so we're reviewing these skills with equations. And remember, what makes it an equation? Well, the fact that it has this equal sign makes it an equation. Now I have 19 plus something equals 105. So I'm thinking the opposite of add is subtract. I want to get the p by itself. And let's see, I have to borrow here. 15 take away 9 is going to be 6, and 9 take away 1 is 8. We go on to the next review for equations, and here is where we're multiplying. So remember, the 4 and the x smashed together equals multiply. So the opposite of multiply is divide. Drawing my lines. If I multiply times 4, then I divide by 4, that's going to be 1. 1 times anything is just going to be whatever it is. And then I do the math. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I know x has to equal 3. And that kind of looks like our not equal sign when I draw the bar down there. So I'll take that out. So let's try this one. 5 times x equals 125 is what that means. So the opposite of multiply is divide. It's going to give me x equals, and now I have to do some division. Now, we're preparing for state assessment, so I'm going to make you use your internal calculator. 5 cannot go into 1, so I'm going to look at how many 5s go into 12. I know that's 2 because 2 times 5 is 10. I subtract and get 2 left over. Bring down the 5, and I know that 5 times 5 is 25. So I can quickly solve x must be 25. Now, this one looks a little weird, but remember what the fraction bar also means. Division. So we can write it n divided by 4 equals 7. I'm just writing it in different form. What's the opposite of divide? Multiply. N is going to be 7 times 4, 28. H divided by 2 equals 6. So when we see that fraction bar, we don't panic. We just remember that it means divide. The opposite of dividing by 2 would be multiplying by 2. So I'm going to get H equals 6 times 2 is 12. Now remember, when we're working this, we can put the answer back in and check. Okay, so instead of the h, I'm going to put 12 divided by 2. Does that equal 6? Yes. So I know I am correct. Now, our math book, like I said, does not have any inequalities, okay, but we can jump to a level 3 on this target by simply replacing, or repeating rather, what you did here and what we did here. The only difference is, instead of the equal sign, we have the inequality. So instead of writing an equal sign, you're just going to copy that inequality. Oops, trying to get my eraser here. So remember, the 3 and the x smashed together means multiply. It's got to be greater than or equal to 24. So I'm thinking the same math that I already was. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide by 3. So x, now I'm not going to write equals, remember. I'm going to copy exactly what's there. What's 24 divided by 3? 8. Okay. B, here we go. 18 is greater than y plus 12. Well, I don't even worry about this. I'm just copying it. What's the opposite of adding 12? Subtracting 12. So then I'm going to have y is less than 18 minus 12 is 6. Okay. Now remember, we're not panicking when we see the fraction bar because it means divide. Opposite of divide is multiply times 3. So this is going to be x is less than or equal to 11 times 3. Okay, last one. Opposite of minus is adding 13 to each side. I don't worry that it's not an equal sign. I just copied whatever's there. 17 plus 13 is going to be 20. That's all you have to do. Okay, so this is probably going to be pretty short because the rest of this stuff is practice. Okay, so you have this slide in your packet and you have this slide in your packet. Okay, so I want you to see what you can do. And if we're struggling, then I will make another video that has practice. But for now, I think I just want to see how you guys do because I really feel like there's nothing really to teach anymore. It's the same concept as solving those equations, okay? You need to write down and maybe remember the opposite of add is subtract. The opposite of multiply is divide. And the other way. So the opposite of divide is multiply. The opposite of subtract is adding. So remember, this is b divided by 2. Okay, so you're going to do the opposite, which is multiply. Okay, remember the 4 smashed with the n means 4 times n. So you're going to do the opposite, which is divide. Same thing here, that's 7 times b. I'm not even going to help you with this one. Okay, subtraction. I think we're good with that. Now, even though the add is back here, okay, we know the opposite is going to be subtract. Okay. Now this one is a little tricky because there's a minus right there. So I don't even want you to worry about that one. Remember, this means v divided by 4. Okay. And remember, the 7 smashed with the c means multiply. Okay. So you're going to finish those. Let me check. You're going to work on these. Let me check. Okay. Good luck.